I just thought completely hot, nasty rock and roll sex. I thought, what's going on?
Welcome everybody to Watto's Vatos, the only podcast of Star Wars hosted by three Latinos. I'm the main host, Franklin. Today we're going to be talking about Michael Richards' new audiobook that Harpo was, he decided to listen to it. Chris Kattan having a very bizarre interview, and AEW's Grand Slam over at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and more on this episode of Watto's Vatos. But first, let me take it over to the West Coast. Harpo, what's good?
Thanks, Franklin. We're joined here today as a community, if you will. We've all been drawn together by the siren song of Star Wars. And here on Watto's Vatos, this is everything Star Wars. And P.S., if you try hard enough, everything is Star Wars. But enough about me. Let's kick it over to the East Coast to our homie Bert.
What's going on, everyone? I'm back here on the East Coast. I am the literal dick in the middle of my two co-hosts. It is, what do they say, the greatest form of cinema. Well, cinema's dead. It's all TV now. Who cares?
It's all TV now, baby. TV One. It's all Murder, She Wrote. There's no difference from Murder, She Wrote to the fucking biggest summer blockbuster. That's just the fucking facts right now.
Hey, The Acolyte, Kojak, same ballpark.
Same fucking ballpark, yeah. The Odd Couple, Agatha All Along. Same thing.
Don't forget the rebirth of Matlock.
Is Matlock reborn?
Oh, Kathy Bates is Matlock now.
You're
right.
Is this okay? I get
This
British
is not
TV.
a joke?
I mean, that's fine. I don't care, but you know, some might care. I'm sure it's been. I'm sure there's been a perfectly rational response to this over on the internet.
Oh, yeah, no, there's been no hand-wringing and no overreaction at all.
Fantastic. Well, anyways, so start off the show. Michael Richards released an audiobook. I remember somebody showed me a screen capture that somebody's physical copy. All the pages were blank.
Oh, dear God.
And they're like, is this intentional? Yeah. All I've seen of this book is, like I've seen with most books, is the cover. And black and white, you know, gel. It looks like he slicked his hair back a little bit. Winter coat, kind of, if I remember correctly. He's got like a bit of a coat situation going on.
Maybe a pea coat?
Maybe a pea coat. Thank you, Harpo. You are on the money as always. So, obviously this book would be enticing for reasons. But just the absurdity that here we are, and he has decided to do this. I think he joined Instagram recently as well.
Oh, God.
I think it was just to like say, "Oh, rest in peace" to somebody. I don't recall the exact purpose why, but hey, he's on Insta.
He waited for someone famous and black to die to just throw it out there.
I mean, jeez, who knows? Oh no,
James Earl Jones. He joined for James Earl Jones.
James. Yeah. So
what is the time frame of the book, by the way? Like, what span of his life or career does he cover?
Oh, literally from his birth to today.
Oh my God!
Lord.
I hate that already. I hate the fucking nerve. When you start off a book about your like childhood, I think like you got some fucking nerve, man.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to hear about this shit.
Oh, but it's laying groundwork for future events.
All right. So, and I forgot to mention, we do have our producer Champ manning the board here. So he's our Ethan Hawkins, so to say.
That's the gratitude I get from you pieces of crap.
God damn. I am amazed and horrified in how well he can work that to communicate. You know? If you had to use a soundboard, if you were kidnapped and the only way to get out of it was to use a soundboard, I think he could get out.
Take a hike.
Oh, yeah.
The A-team is taking over.
All right, so Harpo, you decided this book was on offer or on sale.
Okay, yeah, let me...
Sorry.
Let me... I gotta set some groundwork here. I have like 6 hours a day in a vehicle, so I need lots of things to entertain me. And I have an Audible account, and you get the credit every month. You buy a book, and they had a little sale, if you will, a discount. Some might say a bargain, where it was buy 2 of these very select books, and by select I mean like sci-fi series I've never heard of, fantasy series I've never heard of, autobiographies of very, very mediocre celebrities. And if you buy 2 of these, it's only going to cost you 1 credit. So I went perusing through, and I came up with a really bad looking Blues Brothers book that's like an unauthorized biography of John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, and Michael Richards' autobiography. So I figured, well, this is probably like 10, 15 years old. That's why they're, put it on the bargain aisle. And then I go and I look it up, and no, he wrote it this year. It's a 2024 brand new book that you can get 2 for 1 on Audible. I don't recommend it, by the way.
Wait, 2 copies of Michael Richards' autobiography for 1? I don't understand the logic here. Why do I need 2 copies?
About that.
So I ended up picking the Michael Richards and this Blues Brothers one that I'm started to work through. The Michael Richards book, I decided that I needed to just charge through it, because I think it's like 9 hours long. And I broke that up over like 2 days, and I'll tell you what, boys, I never, as long as I live, want to ever hear that man speak again. First and foremost, the entire thing is narrated in the voice that he used in the Seinfeld episode where he had to pretend he had gonorrhea for the medical students to diagnose him. Where it's like kind of sultry and not at all serious.
This sounds like Detective Michael Richards from the Michael Richards Show.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, the book starts out with him talking about how his mother got pregnant when she was 18, and she had a lady that lived in her neighborhood or something who was also pregnant, who said, I'm going to go to Mexico and get an abortion. I'll let you know how it works out so you can go use the same doctor. And so the lady never comes back from Mexico, and it turns out she died.
Oh, that's awful. Fucking Christ.
So, yeah, he's laying the groundwork there. And then he decides to tell the story about how his mother gave him up for adoption because she wasn't in any financial means to be able to raise a child. But then she convinced the birth mother to let her come visit when he was like, or the adopted mother to let her come pay him a visit when he was like 4 or 5 months old. And she goes and visits and decides, I just have to raise him. He's mine. I want him back. So already he's made his views on abortion and adoption known within the first 5 minutes of the book. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awkward. And so he was raised by his mother and his grandparents, who I guess his grandfather was a barber, I think he said. And they're like very, very Italian. And his grandmother actually was kind of crazy. And so she would like just wander off and be gone for days at a time and come back. And so that's what he grew up around. And his father, he was told, died in... Okay, first of all, I get that Seinfeld was 30 plus years ago. I didn't know Michael Richards is like 75. That's fucking old. And so he was told that his dad died in World War II. And that's when he grew up, all throughout high school. Anytime there was like some like Veterans Day thing, like, they would give him a little flag to wave because, his daddy died in the war. And as, goes through school, eventually he finds out, no, actually your dad didn't die in the war. He was just a dude that your mom shacked up with. And so he like tries for years to get a name out of her, and he finally gets a name, and he goes and he tracks the guy down, and the guy is like 5'7" with red hair. like an Irish guy. It's clearly not his dad.
What's wrong with that, you coward? What's wrong with that, you wuss?
So already we're like, okay, so he's got daddy trauma. He could have been aborted. He's had a really rough childhood because his family's poor. And then he gets drafted into the military. And off to Germany he goes during Vietnam. And this is where he begins to make it abundantly clear that he has several black friends. He goes out of his way to name when he was in the army, he joined like the army like theater group where they would just go from like base to base putting on plays. And like one of the plays, he actually played a colonel in the army, so he got permission to walk around the base all day wearing a colonel's uniform and having people salute him and stuff. And like got to go like eat with the other officers, even though he was like an enlisted guy. So, because he's method, because he's a serious actor. And he goes out of his way to talk about this black guy that he served with, and how the black dude was the greatest actor he's ever known. And it's like spends like a solid 2 or 3 chapters going to, where his black friend would take him to like the all black clubs in Germany where he'd hang out with other black people, and he had lots of black friends. So he wants you to know that.
Liar!
And then he gets back home, and before he had left for Germany, he had started a comedy duo with a man who Franklin and Bert, you and I are all familiar with, a man by the name of Ed Begley Jr., who played Stan Sitwell on Better Call Saul.
Ed Begley? No, Stan Sitwell.
Ed Begley Jr.
It was Ed Begley
Was
Jr.
he the one? He's like, Jimmy, I think you're a fucking asshole.
Yes, that is the man.
That man ain't junior of nothing, by the way. Ed Begley Jr., fucking oldest junior in existence. So,
Well, his dad was also a famous actor, so
fuck out of here.
they did a weird comedy duo where they would like, from the sounds of it, like other people would be like in the middle of their sets, and they would just like come like rolling into the comedy club like on roller skates and would like go up on stage and like create a scene and then just leave. And it was like, they're like, it was so funny. I'd be like, dude, if I was up doing a set and you came in and did that, I'd fucking kill you.
He's no
So
respect
wait.
for anyone.
Exactly.
Wait, so what was he like? What do you mean making a scene? Like they were just like,
They would be like, oh, hey, look at us. Like, we're on roller skates. And then they would just leave.
it sounds like two friends who think they have the best idea of doing improv and it's absolute shit.
Yes,
I don't know.
that's
So, yeah,
precisely it.
Go on.
So he comes back from Vietnam, and now Ed's already kind of famous. So they can't really they do like one last comedy show together, and they're like, we have to actually put together some material. And so they do this whole like act, and Ed Begley Sr. comes to watch it. And afterwards, like, they get absolutely no laughs. And afterwards, they like go up to Ed Begley Sr. and he's just like, Ed Jr. goes, so Dad, what'd you think? And he just goes, I'll be in the car. And he gets up and walks out. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like an actual actor just told you to fuck off.
That makes me absolutely sick!
So we get through, let's see, early part of his career. He gets married. He's talking about all this stuff about how, he wants his life to be different. And he's, he knows he's special and he was put here for a reason. While also name-dropping several fluent African-American actors that he's become friends with in comics. Did you know he's friends with Whoopi Goldberg? I know that because he mentions it several times.
Yeah.
And,
So.
he does like, he had the same agent as Don Johnson, and his agent managed to get him like a part on Miami Vice. Okay, gentlemen, this is going to be a little near and dear to your hearts because A, it takes place in Miami, and B, I didn't know there was a thing called Cuban coffee. Could you guys explain that to me?
Café Cubano.
Oh, It's
I'm not the biggest
essentially
fan of this. Go ahead, Bert.
really bitter espresso with a shit ton of sugar mixed into it.
Okay,
Bingo.
see, I didn't know that. And also, neither did Michael Richards.
Oh wait,
So,
wait. Can I pause for a moment?
absolutely.
And if I'm wrong, this is what happens to so many white people, and I think Bert, you know exactly what's about to happen too. They give you the little cups when you get Cuban coffee because it is very strong, and you should not, you shouldn't take too many, shots of Cuban coffee. I don't know. I assume he ignored the little cups that they give you, and just had it like it was a normal thing, and just went off the fucking walls from there, probably sweating and looking like he was coked up. That's what I imagine.
Oh, Franklin, you are so close to the truth.
Okay.
So he flies out and he's, memorizing his lines on the flight out there. And he figures, I'll get to the hotel, I'll go to sleep. It was a 7 a.m. Call time. So he's like, this will be perfect. I'll have my lines ready. So he gets to the hotel and there's a new script. So he has to learn his new lines. And this is his first, televised, Sylvia. Hold on one second.
So, what Harpo's
unplug
about
it.
to explain here is, I feel like Michael Richards is about to kind of get the effects of the whole Cuban coffee experience.
Yeah, so he realizes he has new lines he needs to learn. So he decides to stay up all night learning his new lines. He gets to a point where he's like, okay, I think I'm comfortable. And he starts falling asleep and he goes, wait a minute, what if I'm not? What if I'm wrong? So he stays up all night. He's literally going on like 26 hours straight of being awake. He gets to the set and they go, man, you look like shit. Which is okay because he was playing a coke dealer. So he's like kind of jittery. They're like, oh, okay, you're just getting into character. And he's like, no, I'm really tired. And they said, oh, well, here, have one of these. And they give him a Cuban coffee. And one thing you will learn about Mr. Richards, if you subject yourself to this book, is that he's a bit of a health nut, so he doesn't drink coffee. He doesn't drink anything with sugar. He doesn't drink caffeine. And his first introduction to caffeine is Cuban coffee. So he downs one, and he goes, oh, that feels good. And a couple hours later, they keep moving his time back. They're like, okay, well, we'll be ready for you by 9 a.m., and so 8:30 comes around, he's already had one. He starts getting a little tired, so he takes another one. And then keeps going to go, okay, well, we'll definitely have you after lunch. And so he eats lunch, and he's sitting in his trailer, and he starts getting coffee, so he has another one. Gentlemen, in the span of 12 hours, Michael Richards consumes 8 Cuban coffees.
No.
The fuck is wrong with him? Jesus.
One
so when it
is a
comes
lot.
time for him to perform, he gets on set. They've decided now the reason they moved it back is because they decided instead of shooting it during the day, they wanted to shoot it during the night. And so now he's on a boat for his scene, and he's sweating profusely. And Don Johnson walks right by him, hits his mark, gets ready. They yell action, and Michael Richards can't remember his lines. And not only can he not remember his lines, he falls down on the ground and is convulsing. So they rush him to the hospital. Don Johnson thinks he's on coke or something, and they find out, they're like, wait, so you drank 8 Cuban coffees in 12 hours? Yeah, dude, you should have you just had 4 days worth of caffeine and sugar. And so yeah, he kind of almost blows his first chance. So they bring him back out the next day. Don Johnson's pissed at him, calls his agent and tells his agent, hey, is this the guy that you sent out here? This guy's a fucking moron. He's doing this right while Michael Richards is 10 feet away from him. And so he films the scene, he gets killed in the scene, and then he figures, oh, that's the end of my career. So that's the first time he meets Don Johnson. I guess he met him again later at some point. Don Johnson had no idea that he had ever done a scene with him. So years go by, he gets that show Fridays with Larry David, which is a Saturday Night Live ripoff on ABC. And so he does that for I think 3 seasons, and has like a good time, but doesn't really make a lot of money. But he meets Larry David, and through Larry David, he meets Jerry Seinfeld, and then Seinfeld comes around, and by this point, he's had a child, so I think he has a daughter at this point. And because like if you remember those first 2 seasons of Seinfeld, not a lot of Kramer in those.
He was a little, and he was like, I guess his character in the first few episodes was a shut-in.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he
agoraphobic,
never left
yeah.
the building in like 10 years or something.
Yep.
How do you make friends with Bob Sacamano then?
So he gets on Seinfeld. That first season happens, and he goes, "Well, this isn't gonna last." It's like, and if it does last, my character's already been shoved to the side. But you know what? I'm gonna do the best I can because I really like working with these people. And so season 3, which is where he has his breakthrough, is about to happen, and old Michael Richards gets cut. His old lady leaves him for another guy. So just takes the horns of the cuckold and just slams it right on top of his head. So he, goes through a really dark time in his life. He'd worked so hard to maintain this marriage, and in the end, it's as Linkin Park once said, it doesn't even matter.
Wow.
So he goes on his meteoric rise of Seinfeld becoming a staple of our society. It's a cultural touchstone, if you will. And Kramer is where's the line between Michael and Kramer? He mentions at one point where they have like the upfronts every year where they send like the cast of shows out to go meet with the affiliates to say, hey, this is what we're going to do for this next year. And so there's a year where they send the Seinfeld cast, and the hotel he's staying at, he asks them if they could take his tux and have it cleaned and brought back to him. And they go, oh yeah, don't worry, Mr. Richards, we'll get it to you. Don't you worry. And it ends up they sent it to the wrong hotel, so he shows up to the upfronts. He's legitimately mad. He he's in the hotel lobby yelling how much this place sucks and everything. So he goes to the upfronts. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in a dress, and Jason Alexander and Jerry Seinfeld are in tuxes, and he shows up in the bathrobe from the hotel, yelling and screaming the whole time about how they lost his suit, they lost my tux. And when he's in the middle of like ranting and raving, like a panel in front of everybody, a side door opens and these 2 really big Italian guys walk out. And they go, Mr. Richards, we got your tux. So he goes, he puts it on, and the guys are like, we're very sorry that this happened. It turns out the hotel is owned by the mob. And Michael Richards has just been bad-mouthing a mob-run hotel in front of very influential people. So the owner of the hotel, very passive-aggressively requests he come visit him at his table. And so he goes over there, and I guess the whole time they'd been there, because I didn't know this, that Julia Louis-Dreyfus's dad's a billionaire, so she kind of is accustomed to a certain level of treatment, even before she was famous. And she was complaining the whole time about the hotel. And so Michael Richards goes and talks to the owner, and he goes, I understand that you have been treated very badly. And he's like, oh, it really wasn't that bad. Honestly, it was just a mistake. He goes, no, I'm going to make this right. And so he gives him this whole 5,000 square foot penthouse. And he doesn't he goes back to it and he's like, oh, this is going to be great. Now, this is just me. If I'm on a show with 4 people or 3 other people who are supposedly my best friends in the world, and we're all staying at the same hotel and it kind of sucks, but then I get this huge 5-bedroom, 5,000 square foot penthouse, I would invite my friends.
Sure.
That's what a normal person does. No, Mr. Richards goes up by himself and spends the whole next couple days just walking around this huge penthouse, swimming in the pool all by himself, ordering room service just by himself.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's the the nuts and bolts of the Seinfeld years. He talks a little bit about how like Jerry was a performer, but he was also one of the producers. So when it came time for them to try to get paid, he goes they wanted $1 million an episode or something like that those last 2 seasons. And so they go to the studio, and the studio tells them to go get fucked, that they can replace all of them. And he tells Jerry about it. He goes, "So are we right for doing this?" Jerry goes, "Yeah, sure." And it doesn't really like give him he's like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." It's like, "Yeah, see what you can get." So they end up getting the $1 million because Jerry knows that the money's there. It's just they don't want to pay it. So they end up getting their money. The show wraps up, and then it's onward and upward, right? Like nothing could possibly go wrong for Michael Richards from there.
No.
So up until this point, he hadn't had an agent, and because the Seinfeld deals were so easy, that was he didn't really feel the need to have an agent. So he calls CAA after Seinfeld and says, he picks the top name at the top of their website and calls that guy and says, "This is Michael Richards. I'm looking for an agent." And the guy's like, "Oh, no, you're not. I'm your agent." It's just wants to lock him up. So they go through a couple of scripts and "Oh, this doesn't look good." And then this script lands on his lap, and it's written by a couple of the Seinfeld staff writers. And he goes, "Oh, well, I could trust these guys. Jerry vouched for him. This is going to be a great show." And that is the birth of the Michael Richards show, which, I don't know, did you fellas watch it?
I
think I saw 10 minutes of one episode. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I made it. I made it through the pilot.
Yeah, I made it through the pilot as well. I think it was trying to be some sort of everyman type figure. He was complaining, "Man, another Spanish radio station on the airwaves." It
was so bad.
I think what threw me off about it was that it's gonna be wacky Kramer, but he tried to play serious while everyone around him was that single cam sitcom style. And it's just that juxtaposition was oh, what's going on here?
And also in later episodes, they just made him become Kramer. I see a few.
They just gave up, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to be Kramer."
There's a really good. I'll send you the recap of forgotten series of the Seinfeld curse on YouTube. So
the critics absolutely eviscerated it. The stuff that they said about it, it stopped being "Oh, this is a bad show," and it crossed over to Michael Richards is a fucking moron for doing this. And so humiliated. So it's everything's going really bad. He's, even though he still has hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever, he's super rich. And they're in the middle of I think they had filmed 9 episodes, and they're getting ready to do the back half of the season. And the writers were arguing about in one of the scenes they were arguing on the set, they're arguing about the color of the countertop. And he just loses his shit and is "You're worried about the fucking countertop? This is my life. You've ruined my life." And just loses his shit. And he makes it very abundantly clear that the decision to end the Michael Richards show was his choice. Obviously, the network might have canceled it eventually, but he made the decision to end it after 9 episodes. That was his call. And so he has mental episode, goes off, just kind of just drifts off into the woods. So he enters this phase of his life, and I have no problem with people who are into spirituality and stuff. That's fine, whatever helps you find your peace in this world, as long as you're not, trampling on other people to achieve it, and you're not hurting anyone. Go for it. What I don't like is when people make their spirituality their entire their entire personality. That's what Michael Richards does, because he can't just do anything halfway. He has to go all the way with it. So he just goes on all these these pilgrimages and these journeys to far off lands. And at one point in Turkey, he's at some site, like some historical site. These two little kids come up to him, and they sell him these two little figures that they say that, they're like little porcelain figures or something. They're like, yeah, very old, very old. They sell them to him for like $20. So he puts them in his suitcase, and when he's going through customs to leave Turkey, they like pull him, like the police like pull guns out, and, like drag him into a room. It's like almost a Seinfeld sketch. It's like they pull him in, they're like, they charge him with attempting to steal antiquities, and they're like, because he thought it was just like something that like, kids made it, like, kind of like, you go to Mexico, the Chicle kids are like selling you candy and gum and stuff. They figured it was like, that's what he figured it was. No, it actually turns out these kids had like snuck into like the excavated ruins and had stolen these and sold them to Kramer for $20. So he had to like give him gave him back, and they kind of let him off because he's famous. But yeah, he almost had said something like it could have been like 15 to 20 years in prison for stealing antiquities. So, which would have made it for a better ending to Seinfeld, I think.
Yeah.
And so all the while he's he's telling, making sure that the reader and the listener know that he is a man of the people, of all the people, of all colors and ethnicities. And then, like, towards, like, this is like 8 hours into a 9-hour book, then we get to the Laugh Factory, or as Bert has dubbed the incident, the night that it became the Sadness Factory.
Oh.
The night the laughter died.
So he goes up, and at this point he was talking about how he's making his comeback, his stand-up comeback. He was doing 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there. He's paid regular at all these different clubs, but he would never announce when he was coming up. He would just walk in, and it would be like an added surprise, a bonus, if you will, for the fans. So that one night he gets up at the Laugh Factory, and a gentleman up in the balcony, as we've all seen, decides to heckle him. And he goes, everyone who's seen it knows he goes on a racist rant and uses the N-word several times.
Said some pretty nasty things.
So he does that, and everybody's like, holy crap, this is insane. Now, in Michael's mind, when this happens, he goes, oh, wow, that was crazy. He tells the club owner, he goes, hey, I need to go find that guy. I don't want it to end like that. We need to squash this. The owner's like, yeah, no, dude, he's gone. Like, that dude left. Everybody left. You just walked the entire room. And so he goes out and tries to find the guy, and he goes, oh, well, neither one of us were really our best selves that night. And he thinks that's the end of it, because he doesn't realize what he actually said. And then he definitely didn't realize that somebody recorded it on their phone, because there's a strict no recording policy at the Laugh Factory. So, which he feels that the rise of cell phone usage has really hurt the craft of stand-up comedy. So, yeah, he basically is a big fan, I guess, of people being able to say the N-word. So the next day, he
No
wakes
accountability, of course.
Exactly. He wakes up the next day, and he has he gets a phone call from somebody from some news source who's asking, do you have any comments on the incident last night? And, well, what incident are you speaking of? You at the Laugh Factory. And he goes, oh no, it was just a heckler, and I put him in his place. And they're like, you used the N-word? He goes, I did what? He had no idea that he did it. And then he turns on the TV, and it's all over the news. And that's when Jerry calls him and says, hey, well, I'm going on Letterman. Do you want, you should call in. And then that's how that whole debacle happened.
God.
Stop laughing.
And-
That's funny.
Dude, I saw that on the local news, I think the night of or some shit. It spread fast.
Seriously, it was
Oh, yeah.
fast.
My journalism class, we had a whole thing on it the next day. Yeah, it was instantaneously Yeah.
That's where we got the I'm not racist. That's what's so crazy about this. That's how we got on that gem. That's
Yeah.
it's an incident that I feel like culturally was like the moment where everybody was like, oh, we really do have the power to take these people down, and we could do this. And the amount of people who have, like, say what you will about the merits of cancel culture, the fact that it's as effective as it is says a lot about it, personally. And so yeah, he then kind of goes off into the wilderness until the Curb Your Enthusiasm reunion comes around, and initially he said no. Even though Jerry and Julia and Jason were all on board, he said, no, I'm not going to do that. Nobody wants to see me. And they ended up telling him, hey, this would be kind of like a soft reboot of Michael Richards. Maybe you could use this as a way to, get back out there. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen him in jack shit ever since Curb Your Enthusiasm. Have you?
I have. He was in the TV Land original Kirsty. Now, I don't know if that was after
he does mention that. That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't know if that was after, and that was real Perlman.
Oh, yeah, it was after.
It was after. Okay. So he
was forever thankful. Yeah, he's forever thankful for Kirsty and TV Land for taking a shot at him, taking a chance at him.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley. I let me just say, not surprised. She had no problem giving him a second chance.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
and he's like, and he even at one point goes, God, I miss that lady.
I mean.
Oh my God, the taxi theme song.
God damn.
Holy shit, champ. So he
was also in that episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. It was also awkward as shit to watch.
Crackle series?
Yeah. Netflix now, but yeah, it was a Crackle original at first.
Crackle original series. Fuck Netflix. Oh yeah, like Arrested Development was a Netflix series.
Wink, wink. Yeah. So he gets remarried. He marries a woman much younger than him, and becomes a father at age 65 or something like that. So and now he bought some. Oh, that was the other thing too. His first he bought his first house, and it was kind of a bit of a fixer-upper, but it was a nice little house. Then when the Seinfeld money starts rolling in, his first rich guy house, he makes sure that everybody knows, was built and designed by the very first licensed black architect in the state of California.
Michael. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Unrelated, there's a New Japan wrestler. Well, no, he's from Auckland, New Zealand. So, who goes by the name Michael Richards?
Ooh, I'd change that.
You are a wrestler. You could be called anything you want. You could be called Tugboat. Well, not Tugboat, but you could be called anything. You could be called I don't know. There's a lot of names out there. A lot of names. The big man or something like that. You don't have to call yourself, even if that is your government name, Michael Richards.
So the book wraps up with Michael Richards letting everybody know he's still out there and he's still on his journey to become a better person. And I give it, out of 5 stars, I'd give it 2.5. Just because of the, you know how it ends, and just to see him laying the groundwork of childhood trauma, and yeah, so he really does breeze over the after spending 8 hours talking about obscure weird shit. He spends a chapter, maybe 20 minutes talking about the Laugh Factory, and then it's just onward and upward, right? So 2.5 stars. Don't seek it out if it somehow falls into your lap, or I don't know, if Michael Richards sees you on the street and gives you a copy, maybe read it. I don't know.
I want to shake his hand.
I thought his book was going to end with one last page, and it was just one big giant question mark at the end. Question mark. But Yes. Anyways, thank you, Harpo, for enduring that. I want to go over now. I'll spend a little bit of time on this, but there was recently a Chris Kattan interview on the, I think it's called Take Your Shoes Off podcast. I'm not that familiar with it. I think the host, I don't know the host. I assume they're funny outside of that. It's hosted by Rick Glassman. Again, not familiar. Don't know if they're actually funny or not, but they attempt to intellectualize comedy a lot. It's like, what are you thinking when you're transforming into Mango? And Chris Kattan's just like, I'm just having a good time. And he's like, yeah, but don't you you try to embody this character. I saw this sketch with you and The Rock, and you invest so much into physical comedy, and what are you going through? It's just I'm just trying to make people laugh. So it's like, yeah. So basically, all of this is a very awkward interview. I definitely feel for Chris. This guy wasn't the best host, because basically all you have to ask somebody like Chris Kattan, who's accomplished a lot, is like, oh man, like Corky Romano, that must have been fun. Like, who was the biggest prankster on set? Like, that's all you gotta ask him. You don't want to try to like intellectualize comedy. But I don't want people to dunk on Chris Kattan because he's accomplished a lot. I just want get it to that, because at the end of the day, me and Bert saw John Lovitz at a comedy club in West Palm Beach. And
Woof.
yeah, there's always so many more, like, people are like dunking on Chris and like saying, oh, Rick, you gave it the best you did. Like, again, I don't know Rick Glassman. I'm sure he is funny. But yeah, Jordan Peele gave Chris Kattan a shout out. Did he not? In forgot the fucking name of the Alien movie or whatever the fuck it was.
Nope.
Yeah, Nope. Thank you. Big Chris Kattan reference in Nope. Like, yeah, Chris Kattan might not be the guy now, but he was at one point the guy. So
I like to dunk on him once at least. Wasn't it in recent memory he proposed to his girlfriend at a Radiohead concert?
correction, Wilco concert.
Wilco.
That somehow works.
He's like 50 something. Like, this is like teenager shit, bro.
No, it's not. They're like 50 something.
Dude, yeah, no, dude, Wilco's old as fuck. It's like, come on, man.
I mean, yeah, like 20 years ago, maybe.
He was shooting his shot. Come on.
And it went in, though.
Did she say yes?
She said yes.
Okay, good for her.
Yeah, he's got I don't know if they're married yet. I think he still refers to her as his fiancée.
So yeah, if you're gonna listen to an audiobook, listen to Chris Kattan's "Baby Don't Hurt Me." It's a good book.
Yeah,
it's a good read. He kind of punched out of his weight class when it came to the ladies. He pulled some women he had no business being with.
No, that's for sure. There's one thing in the Chris Kattan.
I give him credit, because whenever I would like do a little snarky joke on Twitter, he would like it, and I'm like, oh, he reads them and he's aware of like the joke on him. So I feel like a shithead now.
According to my Twitter page.
So I think there was one segment in there with this guy where he's like, oh yeah, it's like Chris Kattan was plugging his podcast, and Rick was like, oh, do you put your podcast on YouTube? He's like, what is it on YouTube? No, it's on Podcast One. He's like, oh yeah, but you should put the podcast on YouTube. He's like, oh, I think it's on YouTube. He's like, well, let me check for you. And he checks, and it's not on YouTube.
Why would you do that? Like, leave the man alone.
He's like, you should put it on YouTube, because it gets a lot more engagement when people could see, a visual aspect. It really helps the engagement. It's like, yeah, I'll let Podcast One know about putting it on YouTube. And it's just like, oh my god, dude! Like, why are you putting the man through this, dude? Like you got to ask him some fucking, pop questions like, oh man, like VMAs, that was crazy, wasn't it? And then you just be like, yeah, it was great. Like, that's what you do. You don't ask him the mindset of Mango. You don't ask him, what kind of preparation.
This isn't inside the actor's studio.
What was it like working with Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah. But stuff like that, Bert, I think is a little bit better than like, the mental preparation and physical comedy, aspects of physical comedy. Like, did you actively aware of that you were, putting your body through this for art? It's like, I was just having fun.
I mean, Eugene, have you ever even kissed a girl?
That's a good question. Chris Katana is, I mean, yeah. Contrary to what Norm Macdonald says, yes, he has.
I would ask him and be like, hey, so the late Chris Penn, did you ever piss next to him? And if so, what was he packing? Questions like that. That's what the people want to know.
Urinal questions, man. That's good.
Humanize him.
Humanize him. And he's a likable guy to begin with. But all right, next topic here. We do have AEW Grand Slam coming up. Actually, let's skip that. There's a Vince McMahon documentary coming out.
Oh boy.
There's been a term by a guy named Conrad who does the Double J podcast. He says this is gonna
Mr. McMahon.
He says this is gonna be a double shovel burial. I'm sorry.
No way. No
That's
fucking way.
Well, no, it's not. But that's not a thing. That is not a thing. There's no such thing as a double shovel burial. That's not a term. That's not an industry-wide thing. Nobody fucking says this. Connie, nobody says double shovel. It's not a fucking thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
that's
not.
That's like when Al Snow described what a pop was. He's like, oh, it's the same sensation when you're about to come and you pop one off. We're trying to make the crowd come. I'm like, no one says that, Al Snow. No one.
That sounds like a really good idea. I think that's cool as shit.
So I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to get that bit off my chest.
Conrad.
What's that?
It's like Conrad, I have such, the bar's so low for Conrad, and yet he still manages to, waddle into it every once in a while. It's like, come on, man.
Have some self-respect.
You guys seen the trailer for it, right? For the documentary?
Yeah.
So they show clips with Cena and other big WWE people. Was that pre-scandal or post-scandal?
Pre, but they still stuck up for him afterwards.
Yeah, it's pre, but it's also they knew. So it's it was pre us knowing about it, but they knew.
Papa H didn't know about it. Papa H
no,
is
not
the
a
good.
chance. Yeah,
He will never do something so horrible.
Papa H is
found your semen.
Good.
That's him on the stand, sure.
There's absolutely no way that they're going. First of all, it's Bill Simmons. So Bill Simmons is the ultimate star fucker. So there's no way they're right as they're about to go to Netflix and host Raw on Netflix. There's zero chance that this is going to make WWE look bad.
No, and also Bill Simmons isn't that bad. I mean,
he's a cuck.
No, he he gave a shout out on the rewatchables once tonight opening, so he's not that bad. I'm sure. Yeah,
he's horrible.
But he has some good taste.
Lion squirrel finding a net.
Yes, that fair enough.
Honestly, he was clout chasing at that point.
You may not like me, but I have a job to do.
Good God. Good God.
He was riding on night opening's coattails at that point.
Yeah, that might be more
Facts,
so.
brother.
That might be more. So anyways, let's see here. I did promise to give a short report card on Outlaws. I'm 28% of the way through Star Wars Outlaws. Champ was grilling me. He was saying I hope you like hiding a lot. And he's not entirely wrong. There is a lot of stealth in this game.
Yeah, you're outlaws.
You are an outlaw, that's kind of the point. I think the stealth aspect replaces the puzzle solving of Star Wars Jedi Survivor or Fallen Order. And so there is a lot of that. But it's entertaining. I still have some issues with I fucked up and I was doing a bunch of side quests instead of doing the main quest. I'm on terrible terms. You have to get on good terms with some of the crime syndicates. Well, I do a favor here, and then I betray one there. Basically, my standing with all three of the major crime syndicates is poor. I was getting along well with the Pikes, but then they threatened to skin my little guy.
You absolutely suck.
No, I don't suck. I don't suck. I did. So I was doing all these favors for the Pikes, and then one move to help Crimson Dawn, and they don't like me anymore. And then the Crimson Dawn, I fucked them over a lot in the beginning, so I'm still a poor.
You're a real
with the Huts.
character, aren't you?
With the Huts, I'm not doing great either. I am also listed as poor. I've invaded a lot of their spaces. Your ranking goes down when you invade their areas when you're not supposed to. So I need to get in good with one of them. I spent like an hour, my handler can attest to this, playing Sabak against a guy in a fish jar called Bosnok, who I had to rescue. And he's supposed to be one of the most intelligent forms of life. So Champ, I just beat one of the, after an hour, I just beat one of the most intelligent forms of life in the Star Wars card game. So I can't be that stupid after all, can I?
Only 30 seconds and you're already making me mentally challenged.
Okay, that is not what I was expecting. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Anyways, the game is good. I'm not gonna put it like, I'm 28%. Fucking good God.
So I got a question about the guy in the fishbowl.
Yeah, it's not a bowl. Yeah.
Is he at all like the guy who was singing in Solo?
It's exactly like the guy who was singing in Solo.
Oh,
yes.
Sweet.
Yes, he is great. Yes.
All right, you just sold me on the game just based on that.
You have to rescue him at one point.
Oh,
you don't know
This
you're
isn't
rescuing
anything
him.
like Star Wars Galaxies, right?
I never played Galaxy, so I couldn't. It is still close enough to Fallen Order. It's just you're more left to your own vices, so to say.
Apparently, some of these folks here in Greensboro don't think so.
Great. So it's dope. It ain't a banger. It's a nice game that I will take my time with. Other games that have been, it ain't, and nothing can beat Fortnite at the end of the day, everybody. You ain't beating Fortnite, the greatest game out there. But it's good. I've been watching my handler play the Witcher 3 for a while. A lot of fucking in that.
I'm delighted to hear that.
Ooh. Yeah.
I recently found a video game that gave me motion sickness, so I got that going for me.
Oof. Yeah, that's father time.
I'm
playing a decade-old gem by the name of Alien Isolation, if you're into hiding a lot.
I get scared easily, though, but is that a good game?
I think you're making a fool of yourself.
It's pretty dope, especially if you're like into horror sci-fi and the Alien series overall, yeah.
You're into the Alien series. It fucking took all your data when you came to the UK.
Yeah, don't do my fucking fumble of start downloading content before your flight, and then when you land, it just consumes your mobile data. That's a bird fuck up.
Flying internet, that gave me such secondhand anxiety because it felt like something I would do. Yeah, but nonetheless, here.
You're gonna be a great
let's
father,
see.
Brian.
Thanks. We have I guess this is a bit of not I guess it is a bummer. James Earl Jones passing away. He was on Frasier. He was in Star Wars.
He's a mean.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
He was in The Sandlot.
He was in The Sandlot, wasn't he? Okay, shit.
The day after,
Yeah, he was the blind old man. Yeah.
The day after he passed, we had our trivia night, and it ended up being a bunch of James Earl Jones trivia. And me and my boys finished second. So
what'd you get for second place?
$20 gift card for the restaurant.
That's not bad,
brother.
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking good. Yeah.
And our goal is because it's just me and my two friends, and you could have up to 6 people on a team, and we're constantly finishing, top 3. So we're top 3 get paid. So our goal is to one day amass enough gift cards that we could bring our wives for trivia night and pay for the whole thing with gift cards.
Yeah, Uncle Howard's on a gift card.
That's a power play.
Well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, gift cards are back, baby. You fucking
in a big way.
Hey, you got you're like Gambit with those gift cards showing up, Harpo.
Let me charge them up, mon ami.
I just can't wait to see the server when she brings the bill and I just lay out 15 gift cards.
That's a winning hand, brother. All right, so I mean, any fond memories? I don't think anybody here met him.
I really liked him in what was it, Field of Dreams?
I loved him in Frasier because he was also blind in that, Bert.
Oh, he's a real man of the ADA. Sure.
Yeah.
I liked him in Coming to America, the original, not the Coming #2 America.
No.
That was his
Oh,
last
that's
movie.
right. He was the fucking king. You're right.
Yeah,
Joffrey
he was.
Joffer.
That's right. He was fucking sick in that.
Speaking of
Fuck
Coming-
yeah.
He wore like a lion, like a lion pelt.
Where
was
is
a
my
dope
son? Why is he here?
That was
so
yes.
fucking dope, dude.
yeah.
Oh, he was Mufasa. Yeah.
Twice. No.
So, gentlemen, clarify for me without a Google search. Was he Bleeding Gums Murphy?
No.
Oh, all right.
All right. So next I have here, not to move along on somebody's, not to give him the Jerry Lawler's had a heart attack. Here's Rey Mysterio treatment, but you know.
Well, what was it? He's 93. What got him?
Yeah.
Vaxxed?
Don't do that. Don't do that humor. Don't set that.
I can't tell you how disgusted I am.
Thank you, Stephen A. Moving on. AEW Grand Slams around the corner. We know we're getting a Double J Jeff Jarrett match. That's all I care
Hell
about.
yeah, we are.
He's meeting Hanger.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's gonna be fucking
I got
awesome.
a fun story. I don't know if our boy, our producer, has been reading the sleaze list. And I don't know if he's gotten through it yet, but there's a story of Jeff Jarrett in the sleaze list that I was explaining to my handler recently. And, because they were watching me watching Collision and hearing Jeff Jarrett's promo, and they were like, Jeff Jarrett, he's interesting. I'm like, yeah. What's really interesting is he asked China to peg him up, apparently, allegedly, according to the sleaze list. A lot of allegedly. According to the sleaze list, he was bothering China to peg him and just be like, "You gonna fuck me in the ass already or what?" And she wasn't too fond of that, and just did not do that for him. Allegedly,
Mind, give it a little blow just one time for the Rock.
That was during his super misogynist attitude era. They're like, China, get over here and come fuck me in the ass, you bitch.
And shove it up to my rectal cavity.
I'm not going to say, whether I believe that or not. I think everyone has their own truth, but I will say this. Double J's still here, China's still not, so scoreboard.
Oh, God. Well, that's, yeah. What was I going to say? So, Grand Slam, any thoughts of Grand Slam coming up here?
Yo, I'm pumped for Nigel and Danielson, man. That's
same.
Bringing it back. That's bringing it back for us old heads.
I'm 100% Nigel pilled.
Yes.
That match is going to be awesome. We're going to get Nigel back part-time after this. I feel he's going to be so ready to, just get in there and knock some heads. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be 99, 2000, 2001 all over again.
Yeah. I'm excited for Nigel and Bryan, obviously, because it is the, 13 years or whatever, however long it's been since their last match. 15 years, actually. 13 years since he last wrestled.
Nigel left TNA towards the same time Bryan went to the E. So, 2009-ish? 8?
Yeah, basically. So it's been a while. Anything else on that card? Saraya rules match. That'll be very fun,
Moxley and Darby Allin?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a war.
Moxley, yeah, he's been angry lately.
Well, he's like I kind of I like the new Mox, but I miss the old Mox, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of on the same board. I like old Mox bleeding and just having wrestling like Terry Funk. I want to see where this goes because I'm a little bit like, I hate cryptic promos. It's too fucking. I'm just not a fucking fan of it. It's just like, hey man, society's out to get you. It's just like, that's what it reminds me of.
Not your company anymore.
Yeah, like
Darby Allin. Darby Allin, if I'm gonna make you bleed, yes and no.
That's what I think of when I think of cryptic promos. I think of the person that says that a lot. So we'll leave that at that. But other shit on we had. Any final thoughts of Grand Slam? Nobody's gonna go. I'd love if somebody went streaking. Can that come back, please? Tony would let a streaker have a fair chance.
I think he would, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, if they get through security guard, all right, let them out the door. Like let God sort that out. Like Tony's not gonna be like, oh, you gotta get him and prosecute them because they ruined the WWE Universe experience. You know, he's not that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the kids in the crowd.
Exactly.
So our closest wrestling streaker was WrestleMania 23 main event, Cena and Michaels, that guy, the tracksuit guy.
Yeah, there's a famous one in the UK that does a lot of streaking as well. I couldn't tell you much about him, but like it's almost a thing. Like he's done it like at Wimbledon or whatever the fuck, and like he does it a lot. Which at that point, like I don't get it. Like you're allowed to do it, but nobody else is. Like I don't know. I wish I had the information in front of me. I fucking My handler went into that, going into streakers in the UK, but nonetheless, here I hope there's a streaker. That's all I'm trying to say. I hope there's a streaker.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe for Grand Slam February in Australia, because that seems more apropos for streaking.
Yeah, a lot more bird brains there. All right, so final thing here before we wrap up this hour program. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month to the 3 of the 4 people on this broadcast.
What is it with you folks coming to Florida? Stay in your own country.
That's on point. Yes.
God damn. How the fuck did he have that ready? Jesus Christ. How
do you top that? No. We got to go out on that.
We could go out on that. Fuck it. We'll go out on that. Any parting words here?
Yeah, just just be kind. Just try being kind.
Just try being kind. Don't be a dick.
Or not. I don't care. You're an adult.
Oh, I care. Be kind.
I'm not your dad.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Bert, any wisdom you want to impart aside from your downloading Alien 3? Hey, by the way, Michael Richards was at the Alien 3 premiere in 1992.
Oh, I hope he enjoyed it, and I hope he took something from it, whatever the fuck he wants.
He was on a date.
Oh, it did not work out, as we found out.
No. Do you think he got jerked off? That's what I want to ask you, man to man.
I don't think he's a jerk-off guy, like, at all. I think he's too, like, into his own head that he just looks at naked women and then goes about the rest of his day. Doesn't do anything about it.
I really agree with this theory so much. I think the visual of Kramer jerking off is just too much that I can't get past it. I don't think he would do it because he looks
the
too
hair
silly.
like bouncing as he did.
Yeah, and in the contest, I think that's his caricature of what a man jerking off is: ravaged, nonsensical, and animal. So he doesn't do it in real life. That's how I view it.
Holy shit. Yo, I like that. That's some fucking mighty wisdom. That's more than anything I could impart, man. It's more than fucking Ethan Hawke can provide you, man. That's some fucking that's some insight. All right, well, in that case, Michael Richards, you ain't gonna bust a nut, man. What the fuck are you doing here?
I don't know.
I like that. You could go out on that, man. You don't got more saxophone solos there, Champ? All right, guess not. Anything? I'll let Champ decide what fucking soundboard shit we go out on. But thank you everybody for listening. Much appreciated.
Hey, Michael Richards, go fuck yourself.
Are you the biggest asshole?
And